Welcome back. You're still watching the Afia Morning Show this brand new week. It is Monday, the 15th day of September, 2025. Of course, the Ember months have proceeded and such interesting news making the waves this morning. I'm not here alone. Oji Wachuko is here. Oji, how was your weekend?
Here, nice and awesome weekend, by the way. Was kind of busy, but restful at the same time, right?
I mean, do you think we're better off than the pupils and students that have to start school today?
Sometimes they get very energetic and elated by starting school, going back to school and learning, and most importantly, meeting their friends and all that. So maybe it could be dicey and it could be balanced somewhat, right? Some would want to and some wouldn't want to. But at the same time, they have to go back to school and learn, right? It's very important.
I really want to emulate those who want to go back to school every time. We're also joined by legal practitioner, Barrister Chiagozie Nwabuko, who is actually a registered chartered mediator and conciliator. Barrister Nwabuko, thank you for joining.
Good morning to you. You're looking fine this morning. Fine.
Wow. Thank you.
Good morning. I will not compliment you, you're a man.
Don't mind him. Well, this is how we always start the week. You don't start, you just like, oh yes,
I'm trying to protect you right now. I'm trying to defend you too. He said fine.
Fine. I corrected myself. She's always fine on set.
She's always fine, right?
On or off the set, she's always fine. But she's finer today.
Yeah, she's finer today.
Thank you for the compliments, Barrister Nwabuko. It's so good to hear that on a Monday morning. Thank you. Thank you, Barrister Nwabuko. Let's take a look at other headlines making the news this morning. We'll start from the Guardian newspaper. And of course, issues around back to school. Parents struggle with steep tuition hike as schools wrestle rising OPEX. Punish politicians in early election campaigns, Serap tells INEC. 11 states may experience heavy rain this week. Federal government warns. Shekaro's PDP chairmanship at ADA's prospects on settle ADC coalition. Experts divided over Fubara's return as emergency rule expires Thursday. Arabesala condemns APC's economic policies. Dawn blames poor nutrition policy execution for 45% child mortality. Akpabio urges Nigerians to tarry, says Tinubu's reforms will bear fruit. And of course, Ipman warns against divisive narratives in downstream sector. INEC, others tasked on credible polls to avert protests. On Daily Independent, 6 months to deadline, only 14 banks have met recapitalization. Don't dent your image by running in 2027, Sage tells Jonathan. Those asking him to run as selfish elements. This is according to Afebwa. Obedience deny begging ex-president to step down for Obi. Prevent strike by varsity unions, pro-chancellors tell federal government. Serap gives INEC 7 days to punish politicians over early campaigns. Outgoing Rivers Sole administrator begs politicians to embrace peace. Federal government warns of flooding in 11 states, urges evacuation. Tinubu urged to impose emergency rule in Zamfara. And away from there, we head on straight to Daily Times. Federal government expands school feeding program to 50 million pupils, marked by 2026. Resident doctors suspend warning strike, bank on federal government assurances. Conviction of terrorist commander A win against illegal mining, according to Alake. Climate data needed to stem financial risks, ANOCK tells regulators. ANOCK tells regulators, I beg your pardon. And on Daily Trust, sudden death rise. Zamfara accidents, mother found dead holding child. Kaduna houses, farms flooded. Federal government issues fresh alerts in 11 states. Billions at stake as Nigerians pay for failed USSD transactions. Sanusi raises alarm over federal government's borrowing. Thugs attack German in Abuja. 2027 only endorsements by citizens can save Tinubu. And away from there, we head on straight to the Punch newspaper. Emergency rule, Ibas defends a 6-month tenure as opposition demands probe. PDP, LP, MOSOP, others call for accountability as Fubara returns September 18th. Wike Fubara shun transition Thanksgiving service. States pledge quality education as schools resume today. Lagos stops 6-story building construction. after Punch report. Ogun urges residents to relocate over flood threats. INEC Catholic bishops clash over 2023 poll credibility. Dangote deploys 1,000 trucks. Ipman rallies marketers. Crude earnings fall by 3.18 trillion naira amid output surge. And lastly here, Kano seeks transfer from DSS to National Hospital.
Nigerian Tribune. Parents groan as schools resume 2025-2026 academic year. We have no option but to increase fees, says school owners. Stakeholders seek ban on mandatory sale of books by schools. Governor Adeleke has surpassed APC's 12-year record under 3 years. Osun students leaders attributed to that. And failed opposition aspirants should see what even the blind are seeing, says Adeleke. Dangote refinery accuses Ipman of misleading Nigerians, says it offers cheaper fuel despite importing 60% of crude. Travelers at risk as scams, extortion rampant at Lagos Airport. Ababio Akume to Nigerians. Bear with Tinubu over economic hardship. Nigeria's economy back on global investors' radar, says analysts. Say CBN's FX overhaul, stable naira spark renewed confidence despite lag in long-term FDIs. Legal profession in turmoil over NBA's mandatory training. Is the new policy to fix or flaw? Senior lawyers speak out. Amiable newspapers, red flag alert, heavy rain, flooding imminent. FG issues warning to 11 states. No separate CIN needed to operate bank account attributed to FIRS official. Police rescues 5 abducted children in Adamawa. One dead, 9 injured in Lagos-Ibadan expressway crash. Widow of slain Ibadan journalist cries out for support. Lagos government announces night repairs of Mbadiwe Road. Yaba building collapses. 3 bodies recovered, 4 rescued from rubble. CSOs ask Tinubu to halt allocations to Zamfara over Governor Lawa's alleged bandit ties. Moving over to salient times. Flooding. FG issues a lot in 11 states as Ogun tells coastline communities to relocate to safer environments. Hardship. Ababi urges patience amid Tinubu government's reforms. NDLEA boss Kuchi's factory in Ikorodu recovers 6,029 bottles. Ali campaigns punish offenders or face legal action. Syrup to INEC. Canada rejects 1,596 Nigerian asylum claims, approves 65% in 2025. CSO asks Tinubu to halt allocations of Zamfara over Governor Lawa's alleged bandit ties. INEC has not confirmed ADC state leaders attributed to party as they clarifies. You are acting as mouthpiece of cabals against Nigerians. Forum knocks Ipman. And lastly, on salient times, resident doctors suspend warning strike. The points: emergency rule, how we fared under Ibas. Rivers residents claims Tinubu's drastic intervention dragged state backward, more polarized. Wike Fubara Sean Ibas farewell Thanksgiving service as administrator preaches peace. Fubara must probe retired Vice Admiral Tenure's spendings, says activists. We were forced to eat feces, drink water used in washing corpses. Victims of alleged witchcraft share heartbreaking tales. Despite diversification initiatives, oil dominates export as Nigeria earns 12 trillion naira from crude exports. Hot seats. Despite all that happened to me, I remain unbeatable in Osun politics, attributed to former APC National Secretary Omisore. And lastly, stakeholders accuse Governor Abdul Razak of negligence as rising killings attacks in Kwara threaten families' survival.
All right, thank you, Oji, for those headlines. I think we'll get straight to the point with the Point newspaper.
Nice.
Boldest headline there: emergency rule, how we fared on the Ibas, according to Rivers residents. And of course, riders there claim Tinubu's drastic intervention dragged states backward. Of course, made it more polarized, according to some of the residents, a section of which. And the People's Democratic Party, of course, they have their own take on this, strongly negative take on it. APC, on its own part, has said that Ibas has been able to restore peace to Rivers. And you know that Fubara, the suspended governor, is set to resume this month on the 18th. What's your take on this entire transition from emergency to democratic rule in Rivers?
Well, we are seeing the illegality gradually coming to an end. That's the way I will explain it. It's simply an illegality and it's unconstitutional. Now, the major challenge now is how will Fubara come back to the office? Is it by a proclamation? Will he just saunter into the office? Because the constitution never thought about removal of an elected governor. Now, that's why there are schools of thought. How will Fubara go back to office? Will the president make a proclamation, my friend, go back to the office? Will he just saunter to the office because it will last by a fraction of time on Thursday? That is the issue. So the constitution did not contemplate that a governor will be removed. The provision for removal for a governor has been explicitly stated in sections 143 for the president and 188 for the governor, how the governor should be removed. So he was undemocratically removed. So we are facing the issue of how will he go back to the office? Will the president make a proclamation that he should go back and restore all his aides and his security apparatchik, or will he just walk into the office? That is a problem. So the issue now is this. We are seeing the unconstitutionality gradually coming to an end. Did this solve any problem? No. What we know that they have achieved is that Wike's political structure has been resurrected in Rivers State.
One of the clauses that led to the emergency rule was to restore peace in Rivers State. Then I asked, and I beg to ask this question, by the way, has peace been restored in Rivers State regarding Ibas administration and now transitioning back to democratic rule?
Was there war in Rivers State? Was there a breakdown of law and order? Was there widespread violence in Rivers State? It was purely political. It was a political game to make sure that, you know when Fubara got in, he decided to fight his godfathers, right? He said he was going to share the resources of the state with ex-governor Wike, and Wike decided to, bite more than he could chew. So eventually, what we are seeing playing out is trying to restore the political structure of Wike to Rivers State. It's not about violence in Rivers State. It's not about, there's no problem in Rivers State. There has never been a problem in Rivers State under Fubara. Fubara was doing well. It was just that he had a misunderstanding with his political godfathers, and they decided that it's time to get him out of the state. That's why they move very fast to make sure that they conducted a local government election to remove all Fubara loyalists from the structure. Now, what we have are Wike's loyalists down to the grassroots. So Wike is the person who is in charge of Rivers State now as we speak.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we had a faction of the National Assembly, a section much rather, calling for the extension of Ibas's tenure by 3 months to enable him complete some ongoing projects such as the reconstruction of the Rivers State House of Assembly, among other ongoing projects, strongly beneficial to the government side of things. What's your take? Even though now this has obviously put that call to the background, it can't happen, the resumption is already here. What do you think about such calls by that section of NAS?
Those people are just trying to be mischievous. Government is a continuum. So must a particular government finish a particular project, he has 6 months and the 6 months is up, he should go. So when Fubara comes back to power, he will continue. So it's simply a mischievous call. We are talking about an illegality here, and people are trying to extend an illegality.
Make Fubara resume January next year.
It's uncalled for. For me, as long as I'm concerned, it's a mere illegality. Try to extend an illegality. There is no problem in Rivers State. It's simply political issue. They're trying to make sure they will clip his feathers to make sure that he's subservient to Wike. That's what is happening in Rivers State.
The president has demanded that the administrative records, the report, be submitted to him 2 days before the end of his vacation in the UK. So Ibas has to prepare a report of how the finances were basically administrated and all of that to Mr. President before he leaves office for Fubara to come in. And that should happen 2 days before the 10-day trip ends. What do you think will be the likelihood of things to appear in a 6-month administrative track record? Is 6 months enough to make an impact as a sole administrator beyond the August 30th LG elections? That's
why I was saying that it's an illegality. You don't get somebody to rule a state for 6 months, and he will not achieve much. The issue of a state of emergency has to do with when the federation is at war. So you are bringing in a military personnel to try to calm the situation down. So he's not actually expected to run River State. He's expected to restore peace in violent-prone areas. So they actually expect him to have a scorecard as to development in the state. What he's expected to do is to bring the violence down. If there's a declaration of war in the country or in any community, the work of a state of emergency is to get the military personnel there to bring peace. He's not expected to do anything infrastructure-wise. He's not expected to improve the quality of the state because he has no such capabilities. He has no such training. He's a military personnel. His work is to calm the situation down. I think he did that if there were violence in River State.
Okay, and also they're calling for the sole administrator to be probed. You know, if Barr take back his seat, right? How would this pan out, literally? And what are the possible, is this even feasible?
Who you probe him? That is the issue. What is the legal machinery for probing him? That's why I said that the Constitution did not contemplate a takeover or an abdication of office by a political office holder. So who will probe him? His master says he's cool with the work he's doing or he's done. Then who will probe him? What is the legal machinery for probing a person who Constitution did not provide that he will become a governor? So the issue is this: he will hand over his stewardship of office to his appointer. And if the president says he's cool with that, that is the end of it. Because there's no machinery, legal machinery to probe a person imposed on people of River State to lead them for 6 months. So there's no machinery to probe him. The only thing he can do is that he will present his stewardship duties to the president. And if the president says it's okay by him, he knows what to do. So if the president says it's not okay, the president knows what to do. But there's no provision in the Constitution to probe him.
All right, a Daily Independent. Don't dent your image by running in 2027, Sage tells Jonathan. Jonathan is indicating interest quite strongly running for presidency in 2027. And we also have people that are fanning the flames, keeping his feet to the fire, as some say. What do you think are Jonathan's prospects should he decide to run for president in 2027?
I will agree with P this time around. She was of the view that if Jonathan forgot something in Aso Rock, they should send somebody to go and bring that in for him. I think if Jonathan gets on the ticket, he's going to make a mockery of himself. That is the fact.
He will make
a mockery of himself. He will lose the goodwill that he has been given by Nigerians. Understand? So what else is he looking for in Aso Villa? Remember, he has served almost 11 years. He served out the 2 tenures after Umaru died. Umaru Musa Yar'Adua died. He did his own 4 years. He also wanted to go again, and the Nigeria said, no, you can't go again. So what else is he looking for there? This is for me, I think it's just a card played to try to break the votes of another southern candidate. That's a fact.
All right.
Maybe targeted at P2B. That's most likely. So he shouldn't make a mockery of himself. He should just rest. Oh, he's enjoying goodwill by Nigerians. He is a good man. He shouldn't come and dent his image.
Some
like Professor Sadi said.
He should relax and be an elder statesman.
He's an elder statesman. So I agree with Professor Sagi this time around. He shouldn't make a mockery of himself because he will lose woefully.
That's right.
Well, projecting him, don't you think as the Northerners are projecting him, there's a problem here. It seems that they don't trust Peter Obi.
Well, Peter Obi happens to be an affront to so many people. So, for me, personally, I think that Jonathan is being projected to rubbish the votes of Peter Obi, to divide his votes, so that, in fact, it's a move targeted towards getting Tinubu to run again, or to continue to run to be in office. That's what it is.
Okay, let's away from there. Let's look at Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. His lawyers are seeking his transfer from DSS to National Hospital, citing deteriorating health conditions of the detained IPOB leader, saying that he is complaining of weakness and general body pain, and they're quite worried about it. Do you see the courts granting this request? Do you think that this concern is actually viable?
I think the court should grant that request. Of course, they should provide security. throughout the period of his treatment in the National Hospital. I think he should, because he has to be alive to face trial. So if his health is deteriorating, he needs every medical treatment and attention, because if he dies, that is the end of the matter. But then, has the justice been served? So I think his right to life includes his right to access to total medical care. You can't treat him in DSS facility. It's not proper. He needs the access to his doctors. He needs access to proper medical checks. So he should be taken to the National Hospital for proper treatment so he can continue his trial.
If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dies, what will happen?
It is better imagined than experienced, because the Southeast will be on fire. That is the fact. The Southeast will be set on fire. So the federal government should be very careful. His health is going down, so they should give him proper medical care so that he can continue his trial. If at the end of the day, he is found to be culpable, he goes in for it. If at the end of the day, he is extricated from all the crimes, he goes scot-free. So nothing should happen to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Nothing should happen to his health. They should provide every facility to make sure he has access to his doctors, he has access to complete total medical care and check so that he can continue his trial.
Do we literally even have the ears of the government or the judiciary to this effect? As Natalie stated, what if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu dies? Are they going to listen literally? Because we've been talking about this like over the years. You know, he's been complaining about his health, but at the same time, nothing happens. He's still back in the dungeon, right? And it's not seeking the right medical attention.
I think the federal government is playing with fire. A government should not just cater for those who are in Aso Villa. A federal government should be sensitive to the plight of Nigerians. Southeast is sitting on a cauldron of hot fire now. If anything happens to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we've seen what is happening. For the mere fact that it's in detention, we are seeing the effects even till today. So nothing should happen to him. The federal government should be very careful with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They should give him access to his medical care so that whatever happens, let it be the outcome of the judgment of a court of law, not that he dies in detention. I repeat, if Nnamdi Kanu dies in DSS facility, the Southeast will be on fire. Take my word for it. So let us prevent that from happening by the federal government doing the right. Let them give him access to his medical doctors, give him access to total and complete medical treatment so he can continue his trial.
Okay, Nigerian Tribune parents grown as schools resume 2025-2026 academic year. We have no option but to increase fees, say school owners, you know. And I'm going to ask, are you paying school fees? And
definitely, I have 5 kids. So
how are you faring? The school's about to resume.
That's an entire basket.
How are you faring? School's about to resume, and the economy is down in a downturn, right? As they stated, so everything is booming, everything is stabilized, but we, the individuals, the citizens, know where it pains us.
What has nothing has stabilized.
On papers, that's what since last week, last 2 weeks, last month, the economy has stabilized and even give this regime time that everything will be fine.
We've been giving them time since 2015. We are still giving them the way of any option. Oh, see, the fees have already been paid. Any parent that is about to pay fees, I don't think the words will be allowed to pass through the school gate this morning or next week. Some states will resume next week. So there are no options here. Our economy is bad. Inflation is galloping. So parents are groaning. But then there are options. You know, the options of the state schools. The state schools are free. So if you don't have fees to pay for the Ivy League schools, for the private schools, you can try the state schools and pray that the teachers there will do their best.
Pray.
Definitely.
All right, away from there, let's look at the, warnings about floods coming our way. Federal government issues alerts in 11 states. How prepared do you think Nigeria is to deal with the issue of flooding, which is apparently one of the only, I think is the only natural disaster, I mean, great natural disaster that we face. We don't have to grapple with hurricanes, we don't have to grapple with tsunamis, tornadoes, but we can't manage the issue of flooding. What exactly is going wrong in this regard?
You see, I have this problem with Nigeria. We have flood every year. It's a yearly occurrence. It happens, but yet every time it happens, we are caught in the crossfire. People die. People are already dying. We have stories of properties, millions of naira lost, people drowning. This thing happens every year. And I've asked myself a question. What are the duties of the Ministry of Environment at the federal level and at the state level? I read this morning in one of the dailies that Ogun State has told the residents to go to several places. Did you make any provision for them? Like you tell those communities in coastline, where do you want them to go? Are there provisions? Are there camps where they can go to? Are there bunkers where they can be catered for? Are there provisions made for these ones? I read this when I was taken aback. You are telling people, the communities in coastline areas, to go to safe places. Where are those safe places? Did they mention places that are safe? Where are there provisions made for this? Oh, I don't understand. These ministries of environment at the federal government level and at the state levels, this happens every year. Yet, whenever it happens, we are caught in the crossfire. So we are very unserious people. Federal government is issuing alerts. What do you want people to do? Are there provision for Nigerians? Are there provision by state governors for the states that are prone to this frauding? Are there provisions for them? Are there provisions? There are no provisions. You are telling them to move to where exactly? Leave your house, like God told Abraham, leave your house and go. And you get up and tell people to start going. Where are they going to? Did the states make provision for these people? It's unfortunate. We are not serious as a people.
But just look at this, right, holistically. Which faction is being adamant here? Is it the government not doing what they have to do? Because every other day we experience flooding in Nigeria. Or the citizens who keep, blocking these waterways that could lead and overflow whenever there's a heavy downpour.
The government is fully responsible, 100%. Who are the people blocking it? Citizens, right? Who are giving the approval? Government. Who are giving the building permit? Government. Who are collecting taxes and levies on those buildings? Government. Who has the master plan for those structures? Government. So if the citizens are blocking drainages, what are the duties of government? The government issues the permits to build. The government issues CFO. The government collects rates and taxes from these people that are blocking drainages. So for me, I'll put it on the decks of the government 100%. Why issuing building permits and approvals to people who are breaching the building plans? So what do? Knock down those buildings. Open up those waterways and save the lives of citizens in your state. So for me, the government is fully responsible for this malady.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. We saw some religious leaders visit Ibas, the River State Administrator, ahead of this transition to democratic governance. And some people think that many religious leaders are politicizing the idea of religion as a whole. That some of them are even basically lambasting the religious leaders for going ahead to visit Ibas. They saw it as an endorsement of the state of emergency in Rivers. What's your take? Was it so bad for the religious leaders to go ahead and see the sole administrator?
I think they're just hungry. I think they're just very hungry bunch of people. Well, what are you going there to do? To do what? To tell him that he has done well. What has he done? What has Ibas done? I think they are just a crop of hungry folks who are going there to do so that they can get their own settlement from the. So it's political. The clerics, they should not get so entwined in governance. They should not do that, especially when it's an unconstitutional establishment. What are you going to do there? To tell him that he's doing well? So for me, I think it's corruption playing out in churches or among clerics. Mm-hmm. So I think they are just hungry. They want to go and tell him, "Okay, you are doing well," so that he can give him envelopes. That's what I think. Mm-hmm. I think it's very wrong. I think it's not proper. They should face their duties. They should face their congregants and tell them to do the right thing instead of hanging around politicians for stipends.
Oh, well, that was harsh. Moving over to salient times, right? This one says, early campaigns punish offenders or face legal action. Serap to INEC. Yes, we've been saying, notified that there are campaigns going on. And it's 2025, by the way. And we know that when the campaign window opens up, that's 150 days to an election, right? But people are campaigning. And Serap is calling out INEC right now to probe these people or face legal action. What's your take on Nigerians politicking even when they're meant to be governing?
Well, it's totally wrong. It's totally wrong. But my problem is also with the law. If you look at the Electoral Act, it made no provision to punish those who campaign before the elections, before the window for the elections or the campaigning. So there's no provision of the law punishing them. So they are not actually breaching the law. That's the problem. And then when you have the government in power,
INEC have the right to make rules and regulations.
They have not done that. They have not done that. They have not, and they will not do that. Do you know why? Because the government in power started the campaigning first. We saw gale of defections from parties. We saw people saying Tinubu should go for second term. We see governors leaving their parties and cross-carpeting to APC. And what do you want INEC to do? If you do that, you know what will happen. You lose your job the next day. So we are facing a very unfortunate situation in Nigeria. So INEC cannot do anything other than mere futile coming out to the press to tell them not to campaign. But if they campaign before time, INEC will do virtually nothing.
Let's look at the Daily Times. Federal government expands school feeding program to 50 million pupils mark by 2026. While some appear to be optimistic about this headline, others appear to feel that this is just another means to siphon funds. Where do you stand?
Federal government is simply siphoning funds, or holding funds for 2027 polls. That's what we are seeing out. We are extending feeding program for marked by 50 pupils, right? 50 million pupils. What is the scorecard for the ones we've done so far? That's the issue. So has it been closely monitored, supervised? What are the scorecards? There are no scorecards. Federal government will just dole out funds, in quotes, allegedly feeding 50 million pupils. It doesn't make sense. What are the scorecards?
How do you find the pupils? Where are the pupils? Who
That's
are
what I'm saying. During Buhari's tenure as president, they even fed pupils who were on holidays. Yeah, we had this that they are feeding pupils who were on vacation. Like in August now, we have get this that they fed pupils who were in their father's houses. I don't get it. So for me, I think it's corruption playing out because there are no scorecards. There are no means of measuring whether those pupils were fed. We actually fed. Have you seen any reports, any positive reports, even negative ones from the states, from the communities? Do we have any figures or working? Do we have data for this thing? So the federal government will just turn out billions allegedly deployed to feeding pupils. But we don't have any scorecard. We don't have any data. We don't have any analysis whether those kids were actually fed. For me, I think it's corruption being extended.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Oji.
So I want to ask this question, right? Just crossed my mind. On Wednesday, that's the 18th of September, right? They're going to reinstate Governor Fubara, right? I want you to kind of like analyze, literally, what would be his fate? How would a governor, Simi Fubara, govern a Rivers state that's almost everybody around him are loyal to his godfather?
And even in most recent news, they're saying that some appointees will be introduced to him once he returns, and they will join his administration.
Because he doesn't know them, literally.
How democratic is that?
That is what I'm saying. I think they have succeeded in clipping his feathers. He tried to fly, he tried to soar, and we can Tinubu in cohort with Tinubu. She has actually shown him that he has no political might or muscle to run River State. I think what he will simply do, which is not right, but for me, I think that what he has been forced to do is simply to be subservient to Wike. That's all. I don't see Fubara trying to fight back. Fubara is no longer in control of the politics of River State. He will simply be subservient to because all his appointees are not his men. They have shown him that if he tries to reassert himself in power, he will be removed again. This time around, 12 months state of emergency. So what we're going to see in River State is an indolent governor who will simply dance to the tune of the president and the minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
Daily Trust, there's a major headline there on health, sudden deaths rise. I'd like you to comment on that briefly. But where I think we also have to look at is this one, lower left corner, billions at stake as Nigerians pay for failed USSD transactions. Now, we do realize or remember that there was a time that the revenue from transactions used to go to the banks. Then service providers began to agitate, and that turned to them. So the revenue now goes to service providers because if you're using a code, maybe *781, yes, it should be the service provider, and that's where the money goes now. But since then, and I believe even Oji, you've noticed this as well, when you try to make a transfer with the USSD, you end up being debited even when the transaction is invalid. You can imagine how much money they are making from each and every one of these failed transactions from so many Nigerians scattered across the country. So what's your take? Have you experienced this? Do you think the service providers are duping Nigerians knowingly, or could it just be an oversight?
Well, I don't think they are duping Nigerians knowingly. I think it's an oversight, but that shows that their structures are not working. It shows that, but then there should be a means of compensating Nigerians, because you can't just take our monies and then don't render the services to us. So I think they should actually have a means of compensating those who made those transactions. It's wrong for people to make a transaction, you charge them for services, then the services are not rendered. So I think they should be held accountable to return the monies to those subscribers who didn't get value for their money. As for the issue of sudden health, Nigerians should take care of their health. One of my family doctor said something to me, and I laughed when I was in his clinic some days ago. He said that one thing about Nigerians and albeit most Africans is that before they go to the hospital, they must have died first, resurrected, and then go to the hospital later. We should take care of our health. I know that it's difficult, and I know that there are no funds, but then eat right, exercise your body, and then take necessary medical checks. Don't wait till you get sick. If your body is indicating that there are anomalies, go for a medical check. Go for medical check so you get treatment, because sudden health means that it's not actually sudden, just that we ignore some of those signs given by our body, some of those vital signs our bodies are giving to us, just that most times we don't ignore it. And most of the times Nigerians are abusing drugs. You go to pharmacies and chemists and then tell them to give you drugs that are not prescribed. So if you feel any kind of fever, it must be malaria, it must be typhoid. You go there and ask chemists to give you drugs that are not prescription drugs, so they are not actually right. So we should go for medical checks, eat right, exercise your body daily, and then sudden death will be on the decline.
Okay, it's been on the news, right, since last week. I'm talking about Dangote and Ipman and all that. What's your take on that relationship? Between Dangote and the truck drivers, and the association, the removal of sticker on that, because apparently what propelled this whole conversation was him, getting CNG trucks. I think he's a man trying to protect his business, but holistically, just trying to.
Dangote is a smart businessman.
Yeah.
He's trying to take out the cabals, right? He's trying to establish his own cabalism as against the general cabalism. So what he's trying to do is that he's trying to cut out the most of the marketers so that he can deliver his products directly without passing through the union. Now what the union wants to do is to get him to give the products to them, then they now supply to the consumer. So what Dangote wants to do is to cut out the middleman so that he becomes both the refiner, the producer, and the marketer. And then the union is simply saying, your truck drivers must join our union so that they will agree to our terms and conditions. So it's actually a business game. So Dangote is trying to play smart, but the union is also trying to make sure to cut his tails. But however, my worry in all this brouhaha is that the government is keeping quiet. Now the union can grind the economy, the government says nothing about that. It's all shades of wrong. So the union, like what happened last week?
Last week, Tuesday.
The union shut down the economy. We couldn't move. In fact, that day I was almost stranded because I was in court that morning. I had no fuel in my car. So I had to park my vehicle somewhere to go and look for where to buy PMS. I had to go and buy black market at the price of 2,500 naira a liter to be able to move my vehicle. So these guys shut down the economy and the government did nothing to them. It is wrong. So it's actually a game of supremacy between a refinery that wants to market its product directly through its own truck drivers without going through the union, and then the union that wants to make money from the transaction. So it's a game of supremacy. All right. Thank you, Barr Nwabuko. We're out of time, but this has been really insightful, really interesting as well. Thank you for your valid inputs on the show this morning. My pleasure. My pleasure. All right. We'll let you go. School has resumed, and with the whole basket, 5 children. I mean, we won't keep you here any longer. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
We'll go on a quick break now, and when the morning show returns, we'll head on straight to Ukwoye in Osaka, which has been causing trouble for residents as it's frequently submerged, changing alongside weather patterns. The morning show returns in seconds. Stay tuned.
With United Nigeria Airlines, every destination tells a story of unity and strength in the skies. Enjoy a curated selection of meals and beverages, seamless entertainment options, and personalized service designed to make every journey memorable. Planning your next trip has never been easier. With our user-friendly mobile app, you can book flights, manage your itinerary, and even check in right at your fingertip. Rely on our commitment to on-time departures, safety, and reliability, ensuring you arrive at your destination hassle-free. Unite how you unite. Fly United Nigeria Airlines.